VWF Solicitors, we take pride in our client service. As a niche law practice, we are conscious of the demands of our clients. We always offer a friendly, listening ear and sympathetic attitude. We've worked with thousands of people all across the UK in all areas of personal legal services. We have received great feedback and reviews from our clients. We are located at Seven Sisters in Tottenham on the 4th floor of the Anna House, right on top of the Victoria Line train station for your utmost convenience. We have a friendly office and provide all of the refreshments necessary while you wait to see a lawyer. We are dedicated to our clients and have a successful record of serving our clients. Solicitors of England and Wales are of high quality and are bound by the highest professional standards. We are officers of the court and are bound by standards of integrity, competence and conduct as part of our responsibility to uphold rule of law. Our solicitors and lawyers care about your case and are committed to providing the best possible service to you in the most considerate and careful manner. We hold 2 Law Society quality marks. Law Society accreditation helps to demonstrate that we have attained the requisite standard in the area of law and have the requisite expertise. VWF Solicitors, we're here to help you with your legal services when you need us.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to Heritage TV, hanging out with Vicky. My sincere apologies with a slight delay with our, transmission coming to you this afternoon. As usual, every Saturday from 12 onwards, we do have a legal hour where we educate everyone on what is happening with immigration issues. Today we are going to discuss EU nationals and their family members applying under the EU settlement scheme. As I always say during my program, we only touch on topics that is very popular, topics that people contacting us would like us to discuss. So when we look at the higher number of people requesting a particular topic to be discussed, we will take it up and also come to you, educate you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us either through our studio line on 0203 9833553 or 03301139 or contact us via Facebook, YouTube and all social media handles. We're hoping that you send in more questions to ask our learned lawyer. This program is sponsored by Victon Estate, your number 1 property agent, and Eagle Heights School International. I would like to take this opportunity as well to wish 2 very important people in my life, my husband Kofi, who celebrated his birthday, and my son Kofi as well, Junior, wishing them long life and prosperity. Before we spend much more time, I would like to introduce you to Lawyer Eunice, our in-house lawyer from BWF Solicitors, a partner at BWF Solicitors as well. Lawyer Eunice, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Vicky, and happy birthday to your husband and son.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll send the messages to them.
Please do.
Yeah. How have you been and the family?
Oh, we are doing well by God's grace. It's God's grace that's keeping us, obviously, from day in, day out. We only know that this, weather is also changing, so we're hoping that it won't bring about flu as well. I mean, with the things that we're hearing in the news about this restrictions and hoping that it doesn't take effect and people are keeping healthy and staying to the government guidelines as well.
The little challenge is that the weather is not helping matters at
Uh,
all. So
yeah,
if you don't take care, just a cough um,
yeah,
will raise eyebrows that you might have the symptoms.
yes, it's very, very true.
Yeah.
I know somebody who was
Yeah.
taken off school because of that. So it's
Oh, I
serious
see.
now. Yeah,
Wonderful. Today, I know we're going to discuss a very, very important topic.
yes, yes. And it's
Yes.
one of those
Yes.
topics that a lot of people
So,
also, like you said, want to find out more about as well. And it's a good thing that it's come at this time because it's made everything easy. And because it's done electronically, a lot of people
yeah.
can also try and then do it as well in the comfort of their own homes as well. Yeah.
Mm, mm, Great. All right, so let's shoot. What is EU settlement? I know, but probably someone watching us will be asking,
Doesn't,
what is EU settlement?
yes. Okay, so the EU settlement scheme was introduced by the government last year around March 2019. So, as we all know, as of 31st January 2020, the UK came out of the EU. So, we are really in the transition period. So, we've come out of the EU and we're in the transition period where basically they are trying to come up with negotiations with the EU before we say that the EU law will no longer be applicable. So currently, the EU treaty rights and the regulations and everything else is still effective. As of 31st December 2020, free movement will end, and so would all the other treaty rights that come with it. So, from the 31st of December, we will no longer be using EU law and we will no longer have that free movement of EU nationals from the other 26 EU countries, including Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway. So, once
Okay.
that period ends, that means that basically they're saying to you, because the law from the EU will no longer be effective, we want you who are EU nationals to now come under our immigration rules or come under British law so that we will recognize your status because of the fact that EU treaty um, should I say, EU treaties do not give you leave to remain. They give you a right. So if I
Okay.
come as a Belgium national and I say I want to come and live in the UK, according to our Directive 2004/38, I can come here after 3 months. If I'm working, I have the right to remain in the UK because I've shown
Oh,
myself to
okay.
be a qualified person. So it's a matter of right. The only reason I may apply for a registration certificate is just so that my employer or somebody who needs it can see that I am here legally. But I don't necessarily need anything to show that I am legal in the UK as long as I'm a qualified person who is working or self-employed or is a student with medical insurance or a self-sufficient person with medical insurance. So if I'm able to
Okay.
show that I'm a qualified person, then I can reside in the UK. But they're saying that after 31st December, this will no longer be applicable. So you have to now have
Okay.
something under immigration rules that show that you have that right to remain in the UK. So the EU
Okay.
settlement scheme has been introduced by the government so that those that are EU nationals, their family members, their extended family members, those that have retained their rights because maybe they're divorced or separated from their EU national spouse, or for some reason the EU national person has died, those people, including those that have derived their rights, and then those that are British nationals who went to live in EU countries and basically, after a period of time, have come back to the UK, can now apply for leave to remain in the UK without having to be seen as illegal after the 30th of June 2021. So they're inviting everyone, every EU national, every family member, extended family member, anybody who seems to have gotten their right to remain in the UK under the EU treaty or EU regulations to now come under the EU settlement scheme so that they would be seen as legally resident in the UK. Because after the 30th of June 2021, they will no longer be seen as legally resident in the UK. And that's why it's important that we understand what the EU settlement scheme is all about. And so hopefully today people will have more of an awareness and more understanding as to what they can do to obviously make sure that by the 30th of June 2021, they will be seen as legally resident, because the government has said we are giving people the time to apply up to 30th of June 2021. So we want people to be aware and make use of this time. Yes.
Which deadline is December?
Okay, so free movement and the treaty rights and all EU laws will no longer be applicable after 31st December 2020.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if somebody coming from the EU is like, oh, I want to come and live here, and then they decide to come by the 1st of January, unfortunately, they will not be able to come and live. They can only come on a holiday and then return back to their country of in origin. But in terms of those who are already in the UK by the 31st of December, they have up until 30th June 2021 to apply under the EU settlement scheme.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so those
Okay. All
outside
right.
have that deadline of 31st December
31st
2021.
December. Okay. All right.
I mean,
Brilliant.
2020, sorry.
2020. Okay. Lawyer Eunice, how is the application process like? How can people apply? Is it straightforward or complicated?
Okay. So if we look at how the scheme started off last year, the government started it off with a pilot scheme where they introduced an app called EU Exit EU Exit ID document check. And so with that app, it allowed people who were EU nationals to basically scan their passports, take a scan of their face, and then a photograph of themselves. And then it will ask them for things like their NI, how long they've been resident in the UK, if they have any criminal convictions, and those sort of questions. And then obviously, after a period of time, you'll be granted either a pre-settled status or a settled status. So a pre-settled status is equivalent to a leave to remain in the UK, and a settled status is equivalent to indefinite leave to remain in the UK. So once the scheme started, they realized that, okay, people would find it more effective if they had the app on different Androids and different phones like the iPhones and the whatnot. And then obviously it opened up to the whole of the UK, and now people who don't have a EU national passport or a biometric card, those that are non-EU nationals, can now apply online through the .gov.uk website. So there's the EU settlement scheme, and then it will ask you to apply onto the scheme. For people who may have derivative rights, you will have to call them to request for a paper form, and then that will be brought to you at a later stage. And that includes people who may, for instance, have, should I say, Irish nationality and want to still apply under the EU settlement scheme. So there are certain people, or there will be certain applications that will have to be done still on paper rather than it done electronically. And then once you do the application online, if you're a non-EU national, they will bring to you a certificate of application. So that will be sent to you via your email. So once you've put in your details, including your email and your phone number, usually when you're making the application, a code will be sent to your phone or your email to check that everything that you've put on there is correct. And then
Okay.
once everything has been completed, they say they will take, at first they said a few weeks to process, but due to COVID, obviously everything has been extended. And even before that, we were having people that were saying that they've applied over 6 months and still they haven't had any response. And you will call their resolution center and they'll say, yes, there's a caseworker working on it, and they will do something. And then it became apparent that a lot of the applications were being done that way because of the fact that statistically they said over 3 million EU nationals had applied. That's not even including their family members.
Including.
So a lot of people had applied onto the scheme. So I think they were obviously bombarded with so many applications that they weren't able to get through it in the time frame that they had given.
Time
So
frame.
they
Okay.
decided they would, yes, they decided, okay, as much as possible, once you've submitted the application, within a few weeks, we'll try and send you a certificate of application. And then
Application.
within that time, yeah, they would obviously try and make sure that they process it and then send you a decision as quickly as they can. And sometimes it may take more than 2 to 3 months, and sometimes obviously 6 months as well. So the time frame that they have, it's not specific, but under the old EU regulations, or should I say the current immigration EA regulations 2016, it's 6 months for them to obviously make a decision on an EU application, or as they now call it, under the EU settlement scheme. And if for any reason after the 6 months you haven't heard anything, then you have every cause to obviously send them a letter before claim or a pre-action protocol to let them know that it's more than 6 months and they still haven't made a decision, and they have to make a decision in regards to your application. So it's fairly straightforward for those that are EU nationals. For those that are not
Okay.
EU nationals, you still have to wait for a longer period of time, in terms of the fact that you will have to take your passport to the biometric center to be scanned. And then if for
Okay.
any reason your application has been done before and you were granted pre-settled status, or you are now making an application because you're a child of an EA national or non-EA national, they would say you have the option to post your document to them. So that could be your
Okay.
biometric card or your passport, and then they will send that back to you before they process the application. So it's fairly straightforward for EU nationals, but it takes quite a while for those that are non-EA nationals. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, you can send your questions to us on Facebook. Send your comments, and I'll pick it up and put it, present it to Lawyer Eunice to answer your questions. We are also live on YouTube as well, and all social media handles. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate. Send us your questions and we will look into it and give you answers. Laura Eunice, we've got questions coming in. I've got a question. The person is saying I'm the spouse of an EU national from Belgium. I have 3 children with him who are 10 years, 19 years, and 23 years. I have worked and lived and have permanent residence. Do my children and I have to apply under the EU settlement?
Okay, so in this scenario, she's saying that she already has permanent residence in the UK. And as
Yeah.
we all know from our Immigration EA regulations 2016, if you can show that you have lived here continuously for 5 years, you can obviously make an application for permanent residence. And usually, if you are dependent on an EU spouse, they'll be looking to see that the EU spouse has also lived here for a period of 5 years or more and has also been qualified during that period. So that means that
Okay.
he's either worked or he's been self-employed during that time in order for him to obviously qualify for permanent residence. So I'm assuming that she's gone through that process and she's been granted permanent residence in the UK, and so have her children. She didn't say what nationality her children have, but if it's the same nationality as their father, which is Belgian nationality, then that means that her children, who are also EU nationals, will also have permanent residence within the UK. So, in applying for the EU settlement scheme, even though she already has permanent residence, she will also need to have that status confirmed to her through the EU settlement scheme. So, as I said before, regardless of whether you've done your permanent residence or your residence card, you still have to apply under the EU settlement scheme. And she will also have to apply for her children as well. So, in this regard, once her children have been given once she has been given settled status, her children will also be given settled status. But let's look at it in a way that, for instance, the children may have not been in the UK at the time that she had permanent residence. So, in a case scenario, maybe if the mother who has settled status, or should I say, is now applying for settled status, is granted settled status or indefinite leave to remain in the UK. Her children probably joined her from whichever country. It could be from Nigeria or wherever, and they've just joined her in the UK 2 years ago. And in that scenario, because the mother has been granted settled status, those children will also be granted settled status as well, because the mother has lived here for a period of 5 years. And then because of Appendix EU, which is now the UK's, should I say, implementation of EU law into UK law, they now recognize that if the parent has settled status, the child will also be granted that same settled status as their parents, regardless of whether they've lived here continuously for 5 years or not.
Someone has just sent me this message that, with your explanation on the process of applying for the EU settlement scheme, do you have to be in the UK to make that application?
So usually you have to be in the UK. So even if you take the app, for instance, even if you're an EU national, it will ask you, are you in the UK? That's one of the first questions it will ask you.
Right.
It will say, are you in the UK? If you're
Okay.
not, then obviously you will have to make the applications whilst you are
Okay.
in the UK.
Okay.
So it cannot be made
Okay.
out of the UK.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All
So,
right. Okay.
and then for those that are non-EA nationals as well, so because they have to also take their biometrics, you will have to be
Matrix.
in
Okay.
the UK, yeah, to do the
How long
application.
does it take? How long does it take after the application is presented for the biometrics to be done? How
So
long does it
usually
take?
there is no time frame. So once a
Okay.
caseworker has picked up on your case and they are having to issue you a certificate of application or process your application, generally once the caseworker has hand of it, they would send out that information as to when they will want you to
Okay.
also take your biometrics. So it could take a few weeks, it could take a month, 2 months. There isn't
Okay.
exactly
Okay.
time frame to that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Lawyer Unison, the next question I've got here is I applied for 5 years residence card using the
Mm.
paper form and was granted until June 2021. How do I apply so I am granted 5 years instead of a few months?
Okay. I think that in this case, the person obviously assumed that because he's made an application for 5 years residence card
Yes.
under
Yeah.
the old system, you will fill in that EA FM form. And once you've completed that EA FM form, then you'll be granted 5 years. But
Five
because
years.
we are
Yeah.
in a transition period, and as I said before, as of 31st January 2020, the UK exited the EU, and we know that by the 31st of December, free movement will end, and so would EU
And
treaty and other laws, EU laws.
mm,
So from that time, obviously they're thinking because EU law will no longer be applicable, you will no longer have that right to reside in the UK. And so you will have to make an application under the EU settlement scheme for us to grant you leave to remain or pre-settled status or settled status, which is also known as indefinite leave to remain. And so they will give you up to a certain period of time so that you can also make those applications. So if you've made an application as a spouse of an EA national, now you have to make the application under the EU settlement scheme for them to now grant you leave to remain. So if you have a card, so for instance, the card that has been given to you is less than 5 years, the
5 years.
Appendix
Yeah.
EU that we now have says that you must have completed a qualifying period of at least less than 5 years or 5 years or more. So if you have lived or resided in the UK for less than 5 years and you are making the application, you only need to present to them evidence that you've lived here for, if it's just a year that you've lived here or 2 years that you've lived there as a spouse of an EA national, you can just present to them 1 month's proof of residence, and then that
Okay.
should obviously make them aware that you have been resident here. And obviously the other documents that will include the ID, your spouse's ID, her
Okay.
NI number, your NI number, and those other documents to show qualification and residence. And so once that has been presented on the application, that person who previously was given a few months will now have 5 years residence card, because usually the residence card will state on it residence card as a spouse of an EU national. But with
Okay.
this new
Yeah.
EU settlement scheme, it will have on it leave to remain under the EUSS or EU settlement scheme. So
Okay.
the cards will look slightly different as well. And there are some people who may have a valid card, and because on the Home Office system they believe that they still have a card, they would now they would say to them, we would only issue you with a card if you want to update or transfer your old card. And so that will
Okay.
be a different application. So once your card is still valid, you may not be issued with a new biometric card under the EU settlement scheme unless you make another application to say that, well, your card is still valid, but you would want it to be updated to the EU settlement scheme biometric card. And that application is also free, just like the EU settlement scheme applications are.
Okay. Lourdes, I've got another question. This is very, it's not much, just asking if your EU settlement application is successful, are you entitled to benefits and all those help from the council or the government, tax credit, universal
Mm,
credit, all those things. Will you be entitled
yeah.
to those?
Okay, so anybody who is a family member of an EU national is usually entitled to all the other benefits, just like a British national would be. So
Okay.
let's say that your husband or your wife is from Germany, and then they've come to live here, and obviously because you are also a spouse to that German national, that person who is a German national should be treated the same way as any British national would be treated. And that's part of the EU treaties, or is part of the rights conferred onto EU nationals when they move from one member state to another. And so, because they have to be given the same treatment as British national, whoever is a family member to that EU national would receive the same entitlement. I think
Entitlement.
where the
Okay.
issue comes is those that may have derivative rights. And so derivative rights means that those people are deriving their rights from a child or an adult who is an EU national or a British citizen. And in that case, because you
Mm-hmm.
are deriving your rights out of that person, the law doesn't necessarily allow you to access all those benefits or public funds just like the EU national would be able to. And that's the
Okay.
unfortunate thing. And so I think a lot of people who have derivative rights struggle to get those entitlements just like EU nationals. And I think that now that we have the limited leave to remain or pre-settled status or settled status and indefinite leave to remain, that should help because now you are now going to be viewed under the immigration rules rather than just the EU law, which may not qualify you
Okay.
to benefits just like the EU national or his family member. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Quickly moving to the next question. I was previously married to an EU national from France, and we got divorced about 3 years ago. I have retained my rights and was granted another 5 years residence card. Can I apply for indefinite leave to remain under the EU settlement scheme?
Okay. So in this scenario, we have somebody who has retained his rights. I mean, after a divorce from the EU national. And so definitely this person can apply for indefinite leave if they have. So somebody who's retained their rights is saying to the home office or is saying to the caseworker, do you know what? I lived with this person continuously for a 3 year period and our marriage
Hmm.
broke down. And because our marriage broke down, that person was working at the time of divorce or was working at the time that we started the divorce process due to the case of the Gazette. And now I am also working, or since that person, obviously, we were divorced, or since that person started the divorce process, I have been working
Mm-hmm.
as well. So if that person, for instance, is saying that they were married for more than 3 years and they have worked continuously since the time of divorce, if there has been a continuous period of 5 years since the person obviously was divorced from that person who is an EU national, and they can see that the person who was an EU national worked, let's say, for 3 years, and this non EU national has continued to work since, then that person who is a non EU national can apply for indefinite leave to remain after a continuous qualifying period of 5 years. So, a qualifying period could be a period of residence which can be less than 5 years or 5 years or more. In this case, he wants to apply for indefinite leave to remain. So, he has to show that he has resided here for a continuous period of 5 years after, I mean, retaining his rights. And if he can show that he has been working since that time of divorce, and that person who was an EA national was also working, then he can make the application for indefinite leave to remain in the UK based on the new EU settlement scheme.
All right. Lawyer Eunice said this guy, his name is John. He's asking, what is the success rate? Is this EU settlement scheme something like an automatic application, or is it guaranteed?
Okay. So I think a lot of people, when the scheme started in 2019 March, actually assume that as soon as you apply, they give it, and within days, or sometimes
Exactly.
within a few hours, people would just get their status confirmed. So people were thinking, do you know what? Then this must be pretty good because people are getting responses very quickly. As I was saying to you, now there is a longer processing time. So they are not just handing it to people as they were given before. So now, should I say unfortunately or fortunately, now caseworkers are more strict. They scrutinize it a bit more. There will be people, for instance, who were never granted 5 years residence card who would like to now apply. They will have to go back to the previous file, go and check why this person wasn't granted before. If you're a new applicant, they will have to now look closely at the evidence that you've presented to show that you are a spouse, or maybe you're an extended
But Lawyer
family
Eunice,
member.
what changed? What changed?
Well, I think they realized that maybe they were giving it out so quickly without actually looking carefully at everything else. And as I said, everybody else who was previously granted will now have to apply under this new scheme. So that was the thought.
Okay.
They were thinking because it will be easy for them to now go back to the system and see, oh, okay, this person already has 5 years residence card, let's give it to them. Or this person has
Okay.
permanent residence, let's give it to them. Now they had people who were previously refused and were now applying under this new scheme, or they had people who now had maybe they were now married, or they were now making new applications, and you were thinking, okay, this is not as straightforward as we thought it was going to be, so let's now look into all of this. Let's look into previous files, let's look at the evidence presented, and now let's process it within should I say standard time frame rather than quickly. And so it was good when it first started off, and then unfortunately they started to look more into detail at what people were presenting and all of that. And I think that obviously a lot of people were jumping on the bandwagon when they realized that this was a good thing to do because it was free, and everything that's free, sometimes there's a consequence to it. So we shouldn't take it for granted that it's free.
Okay.
Sometimes
Oh.
you just try, but you have to be careful the evidence that you also present as well, so that they don't look at it and say, that's fishy, let's look again into it. But one good thing is that even if it's refused, now you have a right of appeal. So as of this year, they have given people a right to appeal if the application is refused, whereas before there was no right of appeal. So once you're refused, they'll tell you can basically apply again, or you can produce more evidence and whatnot. So in this case, if you feel that you've been refused and it can be challenged, then obviously see a legal solicitor, and then see if there's any merit to you appealing the decision.
Right, Lawyer Eunice, because time is fast spent, I'll just like to put forward this last question. May I also say that those watching us, if anybody has any more questions, want Lawyer Eunice to answer, even after the program, I wouldn't mind sending the question to Lawyer Eunice to, answer those questions. But she'll be putting her details, um, you know, up there for anybody who wants to contact her. So if I'm not able to ask, read your questions, please forgive me because of time. But I assure you that Lawyer Eunice will definitely answer those questions that has been put on the platform. So finally, Lawyer Eunice, before we wrap up, and this question is from Eunice. Oh, your namesake. Hi, Eunice. Yes, I was granted 5 years residence card as a Zambrano carer about 3 years ago, together with my wife and children. This was because our first son became British, or should I say British. I now hear that it can lead to settlement, indefinite leave to remain. Do I wait till the 5 years is up before I apply, or can I apply under the EU settlement scheme?
Okay. So I'm guessing this one is a male unit because there are so many people from the Arab countries that I've heard are called units. And when I heard that, I was like, hey, so they also have units as well.
Of Eunice.
So in terms of this gentleman who has been granted leave, or should I say, derivative rights, he's saying that obviously, I mean, they were granted about 3 years ago, and now they are looking into applying for indefinite leave to remain.
Leave
And
to
do you know
remain.
what is so amazing about this? Because people were on this derivative right, and they were so, how ever get settlement? So it means that I'll have to do the first 5 years, then I'll have to do another 5 years, and
Another
then
5 years.
legal solicitors will have to now try and put me under the immigration rules to say that I've lived here 10 years lawfully,
10
and
years.
therefore
Yep.
I should be granted indefinite leave to remain. And this has come as a blessing for all those who are under the derivative residents. So either that they are primary carers of a British citizen or primary carers of EU nationals who are in education. And so this now affords primary carers, both mother and father, the right to now apply for indefinite leave to remain after a period of 5 years.
Okay.
Should I say derivative rights of residence? In this case,
Okay.
they didn't say when the child became British, but if the child, let's say, became British sometime in 2015, and they have become primary carers of this child ever since the child became British or ever since the child was registered as British, then
British.
they can apply for indefinite leave to remain for this child based on a case law of Senate. So now that the child has, let's say, has lived in the UK for a continuous period of 5 years as a British citizen, the parents are going to put forward that they have been primary carers of this child. So they can show, obviously, the birth certificate to show that they are parents of this child. They can show by way of school letters, receipts, reports, things to show that they have been involved in this child's life right from the time that child became British up to this point. And therefore, because they have shown that they are primary carers or they were primary carers of the child since he became British or she became British, they too should be given a right to settle, or they should be given settled status as primary carers of this child. And so from the time the child became British, they can make the application, and the paper form, if they call the EU Resolution Center, they will be given a paper form to fill and then add their documents, including their passport size photos, for the application to be processed. And people as well who, for instance, probably didn't know that they could make an application for derivative rights. So under the should I say, the immigration rules, somebody could be granted 2.5 years for being should I say, being parentally responsible for the child. If later on they were given a derivative right to reside in the UK, it doesn't matter that your, I mean,
Okay.
period of 5 years is not yet up. As long as you are able to show that you were caring for this child from the time they became British, they would grant you indefinite leave to remain in the UK.
Wow, that's amazing. Um, there's this funny question. Honestly, even though this is the last question, I don't know what happens. Last week, someone asked a very funny question just at the end. This guy is
I know.
asking, what are some of the checks? Because he's got a speeding fine. Wondering what are some of the checks?
Okay, so if you're making the application, with almost everything, you have suitability requirements that you have to meet. As long as you disclose to them that obviously you've had speeding fines, that should be fine. It's different when you are
Okay,
saying that you've been convicted of an offense and you've been
right.
sentenced to a period of like 12 months or more. That's when obviously they are going to be looking into the offense, and usually with applications like this, unless they think that you are a risk to public security or
Public
public
security.
health, or
Mm,
to
mm.
the general public, then
Public.
obviously they will be looking to refuse it. But this is not something that they would refuse if you were given a speeding fine.
Oh, it was speeding fine. Ah, okay.
Yeah,
All right. On that
yeah.
note, ladies and gentlemen, that is what time will permit us on today's legal hour with our very beautiful, intelligent lawyer, Eunice. A
Oh,
solicitor,
thank
should I say a
you.
lawyer at BWS Solicitors, and also a partner at BWS Solicitors. Lawyer Eunice, some viewers would like to get your contact details,
Have
and
details.
if
Yes,
possibly, if they want to pay you a visit in the office.
yes. Okay, so as Vicky has just said,
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick break, an advert from BWF Solicitors, and we'll be right back. Stay there.
At BWF Solicitors, we take pride in our client service. As a niche law practice, we are conscious of the demands of our clients. We always offer a friendly, listening ear and sympathetic attitude. We've worked with thousands of people all across the UK in all areas of personal legal services. We have received great feedback and reviews from our clients. We are located at Seven Sisters in Tottenham on the 4th floor of the Anna House, right on top of the Victoria Line train station for your utmost convenience. We have a friendly office and provide all of the refreshments necessary while you wait to see a lawyer. We are dedicated to our clients and have a successful record of serving our clients. Solicitors of England and Wales are of high quality and are bound by the highest professional standards. We are officers of the court and are bound by standards of integrity, competence, and conduct as part of our responsibility to uphold rule of law. Our solicitors and lawyers care about your case and are committed to providing the best possible service to you in the most considerate and careful manner. We hold 2 Law Society quality marks. Law Society accreditation helps to demonstrate that we have attained the requisite standard in the area of law and have the requisite expertise. BWF Solicitors, we're here to help you with your legal services when you need us.
Ah, we've got lawyer Eunice back with us. Wow, I
sorry
was
about
wondering
that.
just at the end of the show, the most important part, whereby people could get in touch with you and put
Yes,
their cases forward. Then
forward
you
is
just
true.
vanish out of thin air. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no, 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 no.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all. Right. Do we have lawyer Eunice there? Oh my goodness, today is another day. Lawyer Eunice says can be contacted at the 4th floor Hannah House, 214-218 Seven Sisters Tottenham. Postcode is N154NP. Lawyer Eunice, yes. Quickly give us your contact number and the details for people to get in touch with you. Hello, Lawyer Eunice.
Again.
Yes. Yeah. So you know what? Just make it snappy and quick. Okay,
so we are located at Seven Sisters on the 4th floor of Anna House, 214-218 High Road. Our postcode is N154NP. And our offices are open from Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 6 p.m. Our telephone number is 0208 493 7340. And our offices are always open, but if you cannot contact us during office hours, you can contact me personally on 075 3581 3910. Thank you so much, Vicky.
Oh, thank you too for your time, and please send my regards to your family at home and also the BWF family. And take care of yourself and have a lovely weekend. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there you are. We had lawyer Eunice Achampong with us, educating EU settlement scheme. I believe that you've learned so much from this scheme. If you feel you are entitled to apply for this scheme, you can get in touch with lawyer Eunice, and she'll be very happy to guide you and help you with your application. Thank you so much. And I also say a big thank you to my team, Mr. Ade Thomas, Queen S3 Thomas, and all the crew at Heritage TV. Please stay tuned with us. Our next program will follow shortly with Sally. And I hope you stay tuned with us. Thank you for joining us. Take good care of yourself, and please observe all the government measures on COVID-19. Make sure you observe the 1 to 2 meter distance. You wash your hands thoroughly, and always make sure you have your, your nose mask with you when you are out and about. Stay safe, and I'll see you shortly. Take care.
At BWF Solicitors, we take pride in our client service. As a niche law practice, we are conscious of the demands of our clients. We always offer a friendly, listening ear and sympathetic attitude. We've worked with thousands of people all across the UK in all areas of personal legal services. We have received great feedback and reviews from our clients. We are located at Seven Sisters in Tottenham on the 4th floor of the Anna House, right on top of the Victoria Line train station for your utmost convenience. We have a friendly office and provide all of the refreshments necessary while you wait to see a lawyer. We are dedicated to our clients and have a successful record of serving our clients. Solicitors of England and Wales are of high quality and are bound by the highest professional standards. We are officers of the court and are bound by standards of integrity, competence and conduct as part of our responsibility to uphold rule of law. Our solicitors and lawyers care about your case and are committed to providing the best possible service to you in the most considerate and careful manner. We hold 2 Law Society quality marks. Law Society accreditation helps to demonstrate that we have attained the requisite standard in the area of law and have the requisite expertise. BWF Solicitors, we're here to help you with your legal services when you need us.